About a week or so ago, I was scrolling through Twitter, which is definitely a mind-numbing activity in and of itself. But I scrolled past a post by a nurse who basically said, if you're tired and you're exhausted and you feel beat up and you feel, your body hurts, there's a name for this. It's called allostatic load. And I started reading further, and she said, be kind to yourself. You're in fight or flight. And she just started explaining about allostatic load. I had never heard the word before, but I knew everything she was saying afterwards. So, if you're listening to this anytime other than April 2020, we're in the middle of the coronavirus situation here. So people are definitely dealing with it in different ways. And this particular post I found really, really useful. So on my next Facebook Live, which I've been doing every day at noon, I just mentioned the word allostatic load because it was new to me. Not something. The concept was not new. It's what I teach. If you're a longtime listener to the podcast, I've talked about how changing your state from fight or flight, from triggered to a more centered, more grounded, more open way. But I never heard it said in that way. And when I used the word, I started getting messages from people. And then another colleague said, "Hey, can we get on another Facebook Live and an Instagram Live and talk about allostatic load?" And then I would send the tweet to people, and they would say, "Wow, this is so interesting." And all of a sudden, within a week, I am the national authority on allostatic load. So I thought I would do a little podcast on it because it's such a revolutionary thing, whether we're in the middle of the coronavirus situation or you're in the middle of your everyday life. Again, I talk about the fact that I live in the Washington, D.C. area, around the Washington, D.C. Beltway. Being scared, being stressed, being on is the way of life. It's your constant state. And if we think about it, well, we're constantly a little bit scared. We're in a little bit of fear, anxiety. Now, that anxiety has an effect on the body. So, if we're in fight or flight, it means our breathing is shallow. So, if you understand what homeostasis is how you regulate the temperature and the things that you need for your body to be healthy and in a good state. When that's out of whack, when we're in fight or flight, our body is getting us ready. It's a good thing. Our body is getting us ready to fight if we're in danger, to run if that's the better choice, to hide if that's the better choice. So our peripheral vision gets really focused, our breathing gets shallow, our muscles get tense, and our bodies secrete all different kinds of chemicals just to get us to survive. The problem is, in this day and age, most of those things that are terrifying us, that scare us, that get us into fight or flight, are not things we can do about with our physical body, right? It's a problem at work. You can't fight the problem at work. You can't run from the problem at work. You can anesthetize yourself. You can bury your head in the sand. It doesn't make it go away. So this process that is very useful to the body is really not helpful when you're about to stand on stage and you think you're going to die. So the allostatic load is that stress level that you're carrying in your body because you're afraid of your boss. It's that state that your mind is racing on how to get yourself to safety when there's no place to do. So it has no place to go. Think of it as a current that has no place to ground. So if you're in fear and you can run in a burst of energy, then wow, you're in good shape, right? If you shake it off, and you've seen dogs do that, you've seen animals do that, they shake it off and they're good. We can't do that if we're in constant state of fear. So if you're watching the news during this situation constantly, if you're worried about money, a lot of people have lost their jobs. People are in real scary situations. The thing is, how do we deal with our mind-body connection so that we're in a healthy place? A lot of disease comes from the chemicals that we secrete in our body, the cortisol and the tension in our bodies. I talk to a lot of people who have pain in their body because they haven't cried from the grief over this thing. So allostatic, when we understand that allostatic load is something that can be addressed, we can get into a better place. So couple of things that you can do. Listening to my coach Rich Litvin talk about, it was a really wonderful list of things to do. If you are overwhelmed, if your mind is going crazy, going crazy, going crazy, if you can't get the hamster wheel to stop, write a gratitude list. Get yourself in gratitude. Be grateful for things. Find things in your situation that are good, or you consider good. So if your mind is racing, gratitude list. If your body, if you're feeling emotions that are just overwhelming and there's nothing you can do about it, whether it's fear or anger or sadness, and by the way, a good cry is so cleansing. Please, it may feel like it never stopped. We are in grief. We have a lot of grief about things, whether even when we're not in a crisis situation. Good cry is great, but that goes to what to do when you have too much energy in your body, which is exercise, move until you're exhausted. So if you just can't deal with the energy in your body, I remember when I was back when I was really, really depressed and I was having panic attacks, I would walk at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, miles and miles and miles. I would just go out of my apartment because I couldn't stay in my apartment. I'd walk and walk and walk and walk and walk and walk rather than let that get stuck. So, get yourself moving. So with allostatic load, what you want to do is decrease that fight or flight that's going on in your body. Deep breaths. Check out how you're breathing. Breathe into your belly. I'm a broken record for breathing into your belly. It just slows everything down. After you breathe into your belly, check with your posse. Do you have people in your life who can talk you off the ledge? I have a number of people I can call. Even Zen Master Flash here gets caught up in his own hamster wheel and freaks himself out. I have people in my posse who can talk me down. Pen and paper. Figure out how you're scaring yourself. Separate what you're making up for what's real. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Are you safe right now? Now let's get some perspective. These are all things you can do. Uh, uh, the podcast that I did with changing your state is a good one. I can put the link in the show notes to that one. And also, I put my leadership resiliency course that I usually charge for. It's for free for the months of March and April in 2020. Actually, April, probably April and May now because we're in April. Where there's exercises for self forgiveness. There's exercises for letting go of resentment and anger. There's exercises for breathing, journaling, all of that. So go to my website. Actually, I'll put in the show notes the free link to that course. And you can pick and choose if you want. This is a good time to do it since most of us aren't going to work. So remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to yourself. This is a hard time. This is a hard time on your body. It's a hard time on your psyche. So be kind to yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to yourself. And in extension, find someone else to be kind about to. See if you can be of service to someone. See if you can help everybody. Everybody needs help now. So that's my message for April 2020. I thank you for joining me on the podcast. Let me know how I can be of service. I love you. Have a great rest of the day.